Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this evening's Japan House London event, Curator Talk by Hasegawa Yuko. My name is Simon Wright, and I am the Director of Programming here at Japan House London. And so today we are in front of both a live physical audience here at Japan House and a virtual audience on Zoom, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. So for tonight's event, we are delighted to be joined in person by Hasegawa Yuko herself to hear more about her high-profile international art curation projects. And we shall hear how the art scene in Japan and abroad has evolved through her work, both as an art museum director and independent curator. She, of course, is the curator of Symbiosis, Living Island, our exhibition which opens on Saturday. And having spoken to her today, you're in for a real treat. There are a lot of stories behind it, and I highly recommend it. So please do come and visit us again when it's open. So Hasegawa Yuko is director of the 21st Century Museum of Contemporary Art, Kanazawa, and professor in curatorial studies at the Graduate School of Global Arts, the Tokyo University of the Arts. She was the artistic director of the Museum of Contemporary Art in Tokyo until March last year, and she has curated numerous exhibitions, such as most recently the second Thailand Biennale Korat in 2021, Shah Japan 3, Remain Calm at Sharjah Art Foundation in 2021, Rhizomatics Multiplex at Museum of Contemporary Art in Tokyo, also in 2021, and Olafur Eliasson, Sometimes the River is the Bridge at the Museum of Contemporary Art in Tokyo in 2020. As you can see, the extent of her international work is impressive, and her insight and opinion valued around the world. Hasegawa-san will first give a short presentation, and that will be followed with the opportunity for questions afterwards. So without further ado, would you please join me in welcoming Hasegawa Yuko.
Good evening. I'm Yuko Hasegawa, and so thank you very much, Simon, for a great introduction. I'm so pleased to be here and talking about my curatorial practice, also as well as the upcoming exhibition and Symbiosis and Living Island. So that I have been working at the Curators and also as a professor and quite a long time in Japan, and also American. Lots of quite many kind of global curation. Today, so I'm going to talk about what my goal is to the future and the sustainability, but the role of art in this world at this moment. So this is just my kind of small kind of statement today for Ukrainian people. So always art should be with somebody really suffering. Also to facing on some certain reality, we really have to be really sympathetic about what's happening in the world. So that I just started my presentation, the slide, because I'm a woman, I'm Asian, I was born in Japan, educated in Japan. Also, I have some kind of experience to study it outside Japan, but basically working in Japan. So, and a public museum, and also lots of independent projects. I just started to talk about, and my kind of curatorial concept has been kind of established to awaken up this event, Istanbul Biennale 2001. This event happened, and the opening was 10 days before the September 11th. That was very kind of impressive time. So, and this biennial, this is my first international global project as my curator life. So in a way, I just coined the question this. I was called you are first curator from the other side. What means the other side? If the curator from the other side also bring some kind of different perspective. This is I just consider about that because I just talking about what new kind of identity, individuality. mixed up the West and the East. So that when I look at the Istanbul people, they are very much kind of, individualistic, but also well educated Western context. But again, they very much kind of, idea of the collective consciousness. So it's a very much kind of sympathetic with the Asian mentality. So I think that it's very kind of hybrid, mixed ideas. That's why I just coined the word, it's ego fugal. Then very kind of central ego we have, but then our attitude is slightly aware, escaping from the center to like a fugue and a fugal. That's the term I just took from musical world. So this is just a term I created. So this is it's a quite important keyword, which I just stated from 3Ms to 3Cs. And last 20 years, I have been talking about this like a simple term shift from 20th century to 21st century. So 20th century is a great modernization, also civilization, and operated by kind of so-called Western males, individualism, also materialism, capitalism. That's a great success. But I say the money, materialism. But also, it very much dominated in 20th century and worldwide. But also cause a lot of problem. So in a way, it's we just think about 3Cs instead of that, because other alternatives. 3Cs are consciousness, collective intelligence, and coexistence. Any co, this is my kind of like a very much basic and key concept. I have been doing my curatorial practice based on these ideas from 3Cs to 3M to 3Cs. This is my money materialism, and also the 21st century keyword is the coexistence, collective intelligence, and consciousness. That is. So this is a very one of the example how the exhibition looks like. This is a platform at Michael Lin, because always this is the center of the exhibition, and previous curators put on a big installation, so big sculpture symbolize this pioneer. But I just put on a very simple floor paintings, inviting people, because for me, it's those kind of people and visitors there is the most important kind of living sculpture, and also part of the world, something like that. But the secondary is the biggest, largest project, Alberto. And Alberto Garotti put the light at also center of this bridge, and also one is connected line to the one of the hospital. When the hospital and one baby is born, and the parents just make a special kind of code, is to make a telephone call, is such a number. Immediately, and the light come up to just to on this bridge. And 100,000 people just look at this, aware, oh, this is what a new baby born, it's a sign of the life. So this is a kind of, and very important, because at the same time, this Afghan war happened, it's a night, it's always like a strong kind of sparkling, the explosion in Afghanistan. So it's the same, almost the same place, the next to the neighbors, something happened, the strong light means the death. The other part is the Istanbul, the strong light, that means symbolize life. So this is a kind of, what I, for me, it's quite important to consider about what the function art, because this is Curator, and he made a whole kind of screen in the square, big squares. People just approaches and access many different kind of places, because he just make an enquete in the newspaper, just a different generation. People just put their favorite films, and he just screening and totally different type of the four film together. Some of the like 40s and 50s and very romantic films, but the other one is very much kind of contemporary and in these films. So in a way, such I just look at the old woman and come and with and her kind of grand children. She just moving to and very much interested in these films. To while the people just are so much excited, people just she just gets some really interesting feeling. Oh, this is something very interesting. So this places and something like co-being, collective consciousness that people find and something interesting each other that places. It's really coherent. So that I just very much convincing and this project, what some kind of functional art, indicated toward the 21st century. Afterwards, I just started the project and under the theme of the 3M to 3Cs and the 21st Century Museum Contemporary at Kanazawa. Kanazawa is a small city, 500,000 people live, and the western, northwest part of Japan, on the Japan seaside. So this and the project preparation 6 years. I worked with city people, also Sana, and also one of the architect that got a Pritzker Prize. Also one of the member of the Sana, Kazuyo Sejima, she's a co-curator of the Symbiosis exhibition. So that is so the city mayor and think about, because how please make a museum to open to the public. Also given strong kind of contemporary ideas stimulate people, just to make us strong citizen. That the mayor said. Because first he just planned to make a design museum, because the city is very much a lot of the designer craftsmen live there. But then we just discussing about you have to make some contemporary museum, also including lots of different kind of cross-disciplinary diverse medium. That he agreed with that. So that according to openness, how we can open the museum. I just working with an architect. This is a kind of direction. It's also keyword. We just are working together, because from verticality to horizontally, stability and flexibility, enlightening to creative. So this is something like a program architecture, and all these programs comes up to the form of the architecture. This is for me, it's a process of working with artists, something like very similar. When I just because after 2 years and open the museum, I just moved to Tokyo, and I got an invitation from the Contemporary Museum Tokyo. I have been working there as the chief curators and artistic directors and 15 years. But last spring, I just come back as a director. When I look at the situation, what the difference and 70 years ago, because 2000 and I think in 2004, and it's people had a lot of kind of and something kind of very positive ideas, but the international kind of art, also what is a globalization, and how the global can be together to promoting their own kind of business, also culture. This is a lot of kind of full of the dream. But now we really have to more kind of serious thinking about, because Anthropocene also capitalism. But our overwhelming capitalism also destroyed many things, and also as well as we really have to shift human-centric ideas to multi-humanity, non-human-centric ideas. This is how we really had a difficult, also different kind of situation. Also, it's something paradigm shift. So that this I just started work as a director at the middle of the COVID time. Sometimes museum closed. I don't have much ideas what's happening in the city. So due to that times, I just put four new interpretation about what is an open museum. So what is a democratization? How we democratize art to the public. Also diversity as a polyphony, many voices in harmony. Also development and taking on the challenge of the creating the future, because the future not coming. It's while we are just waiting for, because we really have to prepare to welcome the future. So this is a big difference. Also interaction, also interdependence, synergy, and understanding that connection. Because to ideas and that symbiosis also come from interdependence, and we are co-developing and helping each other, something like that. That means my perspective just look at like an ecosystem. So what cultural resources this city has. This is a building. It's a quite famous building, as you know. All the kind of the grass kind of around, and also very transparent. It's a different type of the galleries and sticking out. It's like an island, many different islands floating in the sea. This kind of structure, because such a kind of traditional historical city like a small Kyoto, and suddenly this museum landed at a spaceship. I just think about, look around what we have, those kind of cultural resources, what's a cultural institution, how we activate those kind of institutions as a cultural capital. So that we just put together, because if you never been in this city, and this city also, have a lot of new institutions. And one is very interesting, Yoshio Taniguchi Museum. It's an architecture museum. Also, National Craft Museum has been opened last year. Also, interestingly, and there are two great philosophers come from this region, Japan, because you may know one of the Daisetsu Suzuki, and come from Zen master, and he's kind of the master of the, also he's a mentor of the John Cage. And also another one is Nishida Kitaro, also a very famous philosopher, come from same region, because there are some kind of the museum, also archival institution. So I just put it together like in the past and the future, also the new philosophy, updating philosophy. So how we can be inviting and the history. Also how we can discuss again about those kind of philosophy, and to just consider about future. So these are images of the Suzuki, John Cage, and also Yoko Ono. And also we just started collecting a lot of kind of fluxus and things, and also a lot of kind of references. So according to work with the Suzuki Daisetsu Museum. So you see, and on your right, is it right? Yes. And it's a Daisetsu Suzuki Museum. It's very kind of meditative and spaces. Many young people come. Also, this side is a James Turrell with a sky space, and which are 21st century museum. So we hosted those two things, and at a completely different context, but it's quite similar. So this is a synergy. So with this institution has. Well, this is we just also again, and those kind of keyword is very important, and according to the process of the creating space, because of flexibility, visibility, transparency, and also promotion, the public participation. So this is a program just contains those kind of aim to physically, also systematically, also as a program based. It's a kind of, we just make a lot of interpretation about, but the democracy also has the openness. These are inside the Bay areas. Peripheral is a kind of free zone. There's a lot of art communication facility around. This is the two, four, entrances. It's really kind of city and inside the city, at a small city located at the center of the city, something like that. These are, plan, because it's 10 different type of the proportion rooms be, located and way to, that's why I say it's like a small city, like and also island, and it's floating in the sea, like this. I just want to show up some of the videos and how you just walk through. And how many people have been visited this museum? Could you raise a hand? Oh, so thank you very much. Also, I think that all the program is very renewal, and also we are thinking about an month, and Japan has opened the country. I hope please come on to our museum. So that's you're very welcome. はい。ちょっとこれビデオ。はい。あ、私がスタート。はい。Because a lot of kind of the space in between the gallery. So, and that means a very generous space to the public. Because public space is double and 2 times bigger than, gallery spaces. Some of the museum people just criticize me. Well, Yuko, why you not take a lot more kind of gallery space? You need a space for the art. No, I space more space for the people. So this is a kind of discussion. So this is one the gallery. It was very small, but then each one has you get a natural light. Also, operating by ruler, by computer, so keeping a certain, limit. We have 3 courtyards. With each courtyard has a different character. This is one of the projects of Patrick Brown, vertical garden. French botanist, also garden designer. These are round-shaped rooms, gallery. So then before COVID time, and 1 year, number of the visitors, 2.5 million. Such a tiny space is why 2.5 million people. People love to make a visit this museum because one of the reasons is also this is the best place on Instagram. So they just take a lot of kind of photos, selfie. But I'm joking because it's most important thing, But I say this space for general space for the people. That means the people have to be seen very nicely as a very beautiful presence people have in these spaces. You see how big the public space corridors in between. Sometimes 3 meters width, sometimes 6 meters width. Okay, thank you. Also, these are 3 rooms, and we just kind of young mothers and just kind of keep children and also baby, and we just receiving from 0 to 6 years old. So while mothers are looking at the exhibition, and she's very relaxed and be free. Also, there's very nice people that take care of the children. Yeah. Also library. It's very to be very relaxed. we try to avoid very, very strict and pedagogical kind of feelings, because when just the library, the archive, you really have to study, you have to make a research. But this is more kind of a space to just meet some knowledge. Because also quite important things why people just come repetitively, because this is kind of the commission work. We just make an 10 commission work and when the museum open. So this is a part of the buildings and constructing process. We just put this because this is one of the most successful commission work, the swimming pool by Leandro Erich, Argentinian artist. When people go in the downstairs and take a kind of path, to just reach this kind of bottom of the swimming pool. So this is quite amazing. Even if I don't know why some people love this. So because even if I just commit curators make some commission this piece, because I didn't expect such a big success. So this is because the most important thing, people just encounter the surface of the water, because your kind of friend is just waving your hand. Also, sometimes rain and sometimes sunshine. All the kind of totally different kind of atmosphere, be around you. So you never have any kind of same experience. You always have a different experience. So this is a kind of important thing. Also, gentle sky space. We just open this space and from 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock at night. Also, Anish Kapoor. This is Patrick Brown. You see, this is drawing Patrick Brown made. Because on one side, 100 different species. One side. The other side is less, because he just collected only local, plants. But the other side is 100 is very, very global, international, plants he just collected. This is one of the, our collection, because now we have 2,000 artworks in the collection. Within archival materials, we have 4,000. But then all the kind of, sometimes mixed up the, those kind of craft of the design work, and also very much contemporary art, to just referring and 3Cs. We have a studio, and just artists stay and produce pieces here. Sometimes we just make an open studio to receive the people. So this is it's quite important. Always a museum has to be live. It's the same idea as Living Island. This exhibition title has, but also living museum. Be together with the people. So this is kind of very much important and economical effect. Last and after 2004, and a total 44 galleries are open in Kanazawa. Either as a design and craft gallery, also art galleries, and it's 44 galleries. It's quite amazing. It's like a spin out, like a seed. So that I just give you my most recent work, and after I just come back as the directors, people so surprised when I just explain about this, because this exhibition and showing the Japanese armor, and which was made in the 16th century. So that means because just the road is a Maeda road, is a family, and just that's the 16th century, and he's a really cultural person, and he just collected many artifacts, also art as a collection. Also, he's very much keen to improving their cultural resources, and he just sent many agents to all the countries and collected all the sample of the design, also technique. So this is a very much cultivated person. So I just put together according to those reference of the Maeda Road, and I just showing those Japanese armor, but the symbol of aesthetic, also kind of the top of the engineering at that moment. So this is an installation view. You remember the round-shaped room just enter in the video. This room is like this, completely different kind of style of the museography, and comparing those kind of historical museums. It's a feel you can touch those kind of, and warriors and samurai. It's like something Lebanon reappearing, also represent at the same level of your height. Also, this is another room. It's a very high ceiling. I just invited media artists and radiomatics. They're scanning those kind of Japanese armor very precise way, like a medical scanning system. So just make an like your bodies and scanning like this. So that means very much kind of beautiful kind of inner investigation and with a very contemporary digital information languages. So that also another artist make this scenography. You look like this kind of all the kinds of tables and also and scenography, and you might remember Apple Store. So this is a kind of and showing those kind of Japanese armor and 6th century object to bring a very contemporary and access to young people their physical kind of body. So which is very important. But that's for the role of the contemporary museum, what we have to do, because not showing all the kind of antiquity and all the kind of memorial object, but variable object. We really have to think about what the reality is, what the aesthetic, what the kind of wish to live and from these armors. Like this. Most ambitious project I just put. Yeah, this is a sneaker. It's just one of the, I just invited one of the artists, and he's also very famous stylist. He just put this armor, very contemporary futuristic armor, by sneaker. It's also sneaker is just never put any glue and never put any machine. They just knitting, So this is something he just make this armor. It's very futuristic, unisex and genderless armor, because also something like a messages that are deconstructing very much kind of and male-oriented and structure, and also we have to think about what the war means, what this our armor means, at this moment, the contemporaneous empowerment, also symbol, attribute our identity. Oh, this is a kind of sneaker. It's a new one. I just make a commission with two young designer, and one is they are very super hyper engineering, and they just made 3 sneakers and 3 soles. This is they make everything, but they made a computer and scanning the called the wave system of the Japanese armor, traditional armor, and so that you look at those kind of very interesting formation. It really fits your kind of mood. So it's a very highly elaborated and engineering this kind of sneaker has. But all the ideas come from Japanese armor. So this is. So that it's very important. Not only kind of encountering, not only to make a dialogue and history and the contemporaries. We have to push it to the future. So what we have to wear, to what is empowerment, to just give an encouragement to our future. So something like that. I just try to seeking for a new aesthetic. So this is something I did, and this is extra thing. I just put back in the original context what I'm talking about. So these are and my most recent project, Thailand Biennial. This is a nomadic biennial, and each time has a changing place, like a manifesta in Europe. So this is I just working with 3 other curators and 54 artists and groups and 26 countries. Organizer is an OCAC. It's a and the Ministry of Culture in Thailand. So that then also I just think about, after COVID time, I very much kind of concerned about what the role of art, what the task of the curators. We are mediator, we are facilitator, and we are somebody's creating an relational value. When just put together one to the others, and different artworks and objects make some meaning. That means it's so relational values, and those kind of works also creative process very important. That means we have something in our hand, also our neighbors, because when you look at the lockdown, you start to look at your garden, you look at your kind of interiors, you look at your kind of photographs, what you have, everything, and such a tiny areas and such an amazing cosmology. You have richness that you have. So in a way, it's how you find new resources. That means how you find a new capital, create a new capital. We cannot deny those kind of capital sense system, but instead of the criticize capitalism, we have to create new capital. This is a proposal. So that is because this I just try to do it in Thailand biennial, because luckily or very unfortunately I couldn't make much travel because of the lockdown, and I just made only kind of site visit 3 years ago. During the preparation, I couldn't come back. That means most of the international artists remotely working. That means we have to use human resources are local. Also, those kind of existing natural resources local. But remotely, we have to make a research. But it's not so easy. But it's very, very, amazing process, and which I have the experience. So I just coined quote mathematical economist Hirofumi Uzawa, and I don't know, some of them must know him because he studied at Oxford. Also, he just went to Harvard. So, but he just came back in Japan in the 1980s, and he just says social common capital, because in between capitalism also socialism. But social common capital is very interesting, and he just divided into three ideas. One is natural environment, but social capital. The other one is infrastructure. The third one is institutional capital. What means institutional capital means like the medication, also education, those are cultural institutions like a museum. So how we can just restructuring the kind of relation at the institution to be a new capital. So this is kind of his the proposal. I was very much kind of influenced by this idea. So that means when you look at these types of capital must be regulated and managed by professional experts in accordance with the body of professional knowledge and regulation. Above all, there need to be a sense of fidelity and responsibility, loyalty, honesty that respect the interest of the trustee, the people. So this is quite long text, but anyway. So that is within this kind of ideas and how we can create a new capital in terms of the idea of the institutional capital, because in the venue there are many venues and university, also zoo, also temple, but those kind of old hospital in Thailand, because in 11th century the king created 100 spiritual hospital and from the Cambodia to Khmer. So that means like a spiritual hospital means that's a healing place, and it's a cure, because not only kind of kind of medicated the physical kind of problem, also take care of the the spirit, also mental. So it means 100 spiritual hospital comes up the new ideas what the hospital means. So that's something like we just a lot of ideas of playing with this pioneer. These are location. I think nothing to be special, but a very ordinary city. But the population the second largest population after Bangkok. But those are the very ordinary city. Nothing to be like a touristic ball. So that's why most of the people don't know about city, but it's very important city, yeah, in a way, because a lot of resources haven't been discovered. So this is very exciting process for me. So how it is. Venue map. Now because those are temples and also public space and skateboarding places, the zoo, also silkworm village. There's quite many. Because I just very simplified what we just find in the capital. You see, and in Japan, it's a quite popular, TV program. And one side of people is booming and the innovation because one is they invited an architect, and the architect just make a proposal like the before, after the title of the program, TV program. Sorry, I just not playing with that because this is before. It's the center of the city. It's a very used to and a very nice kind of water place designed, the center of the city. But you look at that, it's totally abandoned. No one comes to the center of the city. But I just invited Sandra Chinto, like a Brazilian artist. She just worked with 100 children. Children make paintings and talking about the future. So she just put together to well kind of transformed their painting into the part of such a beautiful tile kind of floor. So that is almost 500 meters. That will be permanent installation. Look, and so many people come back to the center of the city. People say it, and I can say it, and oh, you can stay, and you can stay here, you can sit on, but no one just want to because they're just looking. So this is also a bit, unexpectable, but it's very nice to. Also, this, zoo. Also, it's a very big zoo, and also this zoo has moved from Bangkok because Bangkok has so strong air pollution. But this area is very more ecologically nice with the animals. So, but there's quite pavilions here, but the pavilions also abandoned. But I just invited Bianca Bondi. She made a beautiful installation with the salt, because the salt is very simple, and salt can be eaten by animals. Salt also purification, and also celebrate life and death. So this is the center of the animals world. So this is very symbolical. So after exhibition finished, then she just serving this all the salt, the food to the animals. This is because sometimes those I just talking about what is art and the function for the non-human, and how the animals, insects, just all those and how they appreciate, how they related to art. But it's many different way, and I just learn from her. Before. So this house is abandoned 20 years. It's in the middle of the city. One is an artist, an Italian artist, and Giacomo, and he just bravely come to live in 1 month to just collect people. No ordinary people just come together, particularly young people, because he just start to clean the garden. So the cleaning is very important. That's the beginning of the finding your capital, the new capital. Let's go back to your home to just find some dirty place and start cleaning. So this is also Zen and philosophy. So these are because what is very beautiful things. He just started the garden because if you just make a beautiful garden, people just come to start to enjoy and look into. Oh, this is something we can do here. So, oh, I can help you to cleaning. So this is an invitation to people. Now it's become art center because the people just don't have their own kind of program. But then the city owned this, but the city totally kind of forgot about this place. Now people just very happy. So discovery and cultural heritage, I just explained one thing. Look at these cave paintings. This is a kind of BC and almost 5,000 years ago. So more than that, yeah. So this woman, look at this woman. She's only researcher, make this research about this wonderful cave painting. She just, with a cameraman, she just climb out this cliff, take a picture. So this is a very much, but no one take care of that. But I was so surprised because it's such a kind of amazing, and like archaeological, and capital resources. No one take care of that. So that I just going to invite Atacama Desert Foundation because also they are kind of people's group of the working anthropologist, also archaeologist, also designer and architect together, and they make a presentation and to collect the information, also and to try to present what they have. This is given you an formation of data visualization. So this Atacama like this, they make a very nice animation to showing how this kind of big round painting was made. It's amazing animation. Sorry, I can just show it and only kind of still picture installation like that. So that is I just going to invite them to collaborate with those kind of women researchers, the cave painting. They started discussing, but unfortunately, COVID just started, and they couldn't make it. I just try to continue this project individually, and to be more kind of and give a form to such amazing cultural resources and which Korat has. This Pimai Historical Park, but no one knows about because this is original kind of temple before Angkor Wat. Because this is original. The Angkor Wat is an Angkor and just built after this. This is the original model, but no one knows about that because me neither. Yeah, this also this is something like storage outside. Only kind of very simple roof like that. It's almost like forgotten because they just put it together. It's amazing relief and sculpture as a Khmer culture. So it's amazing and beautiful and valuable things here. But it's like that. So that is. But one of the kind of very active and architect Tane Tsuyoshi. And Tane is, has an office in Paris, but Tane Tsuyoshi is he also very much kind of good to make scenography and showing artworks in the museum. But I just invited him to make something happen because he just put a curtain both sides to just cover all, make a light installation. Light comes up and down, make some program. So this is amazing kind of feature of this all the kind of old antiquity. Sometimes people just crying because also he just put in a very nice kind of music, like chant, and when the priest kind of call to the people, we just start to pray because all the Buddhas open and they are kind of chant and chakra to you, something like that. This is a calling music and song. So this the song is inside this, but it's quite beautiful and be encountering what you have. Okay. You see the light both sides. It's up and down very slowly. This is one of the most beautiful because in the neighbors of Pimai, there is a silk and village. All the kind of number of the kind of village people, and they live with the silk because they just grow the from silkworm and make silk from that. So that they just this artist and they are Yanto and they are the fashion designer, but also they are very creative. But they just お時間がない。はい。They just doing they because they couldn't come to the site, so that's why they asked the village people just to send their clothes. But they just they asked them whatever it's some kind of how the clothes and any kind of second hand the used clothes is fine because village people just send it like this all the kind of mouths and also those kind of warm, kind of bags, just eat this and silk. But they just carefully and touch and to just make new clothes and just it's very beautiful kind of process because they say that this is a kind of collaboration with the mouse and also those kind of worms. So that it's a beautiful kind of idea is because it is a silkworm. Also, they just ask the village people to make be a model. They are not professional. They are kind of people living there. So they are, coming and all the kind of village people come because it's a kind of 1 hour by car, to this museum. They just say it and it's quite amazing how beautiful they are. This is always art is a mirror, So how art, can present in a new perspective to you encountering yourself to the world. So this is something I just say. Also, these are quite political pieces. She's so very beautiful, and she's a super pioneer and a song, and she's also a woman and a filmmaker. So she's make a research about it's a big dam project because a major water dam is about made. They destroy all the environment, but one side is very much kind of the miserable things happen, but the other side is the kind of level of the water is very high. That also the waters come back. So this is a very contrast. One of the fishermen they are very happy with this new change, but the other is side of the fishermen is really kind of suffering about those kind of destruction of the water. But those kind of environment, those kind of industrialization to just the cause, to bring on some kind of change of the people's life, also economic system. But I like very much. She just show it the both sides, not only kind of the one side. So we really have to know about how the world is very complicated. Also, how world is very multiplied. It's many different kind of situation, condition. These are just. I have 3 minutes. Sorry. Is there anybody? I have 3 minutes. ないもん。1 minute? 本当じゃあどうしよう。I just started to talk about the main things about the exhibition. どうしよう。Okay. Sorry, I'm so bad. Simon, just your answer is very killing me. はい。Because this is a kind of exhibition you're going to see and the opening day, the day after tomorrow. I just very quickly talking about Inujima Island. So after, this project started in 2008. And because I just opened the museum, the 21st Century Museum 2004. This museum very much kind of opened the city, but it's a lot of the interaction in the city. But I thought it's not enough. If I just have a kind of place to just like a small kind of area, the space, and to be all the kind of environment can be the museum. We just put some small kind of galleries, pavilion there to dispersed location, and that makes all the kind of one island become a whole the entire museum. this is some kind of ideas. I just change and very, but the way to thinking about what the openness is. So this when just talking with Kazuyo Tsujima, and luckily I got an invitation from the Fukutake Foundation to operate the Venice Island project, Naoshima, Teshima, Inujima, 3 islands. Venice Art Foundation make a Venice Art Project, 3 islands. And President Mr. Fukutake invited me and Yuko, and you're very interested in such a small island. You're already talking about such a small scale, and you can walk about distance, pedestrian. That would be very nice kind of place to be located, put an art. So something experimental. This one of the museums are already done by some Bridge-san, because this is kind of very much modern industrial buildings and refinery of the copper, but also very heritage of the modernization. But this place is closed in the 1940s, 30s. Now it's almost ruined. So, but Mr. Fukutake just make a commission, make a small museum first, but it's very much like also bring Mishima Yukio's and houses and make something nice installation to just criticize capitalism. So that but after this, I just think about, because if we just a new project after this project, we really have to embrace the people living there. So because not only kind of criticize about what the historical past, we really have to think about the future, also take care of the living people. So then I just talked to Kazuyo Sejima and also the Mr. Fukutake, and make a pavilion like an art house. Some of the renovation, some of the new kind of totally new designed buildings. We just put an so you just walk around. So, and because it's really walkable distance. So this is a model. This is a renovation example. An old house and Kazuyo Tsujima just innovated, replacing a new kind of wood. I just put a Hasegawa piece. It make a story, because in a house, it's a pavilions and an art house make a narrative. So I just make a story and a paradise, a Shangri-La, like Togenkyo, because once people visit those kind of paradise, but once they get out, but they never come back, something like that. So, but also it's like we have to make some kind of process of pilgrim with art, because this is island, not so easy to access. All this kind of, we have to make bring some kind of fantasize. Also, make bring more kind of imagination to where we are going to. So, and Kohei now is like it's a big bang. It's a kind of beginning of the world, or something like that. Imagination. Also, in the small courtyard, and he just bring kind of small statue of the boy, but he just named it Lem, and he was 5 years old. But after 3 years after, he just growing, because we just take care of the how the change, because some of the pavilions has been changed every 3 years, but we just keep this forehead hours, but this kind of boy is just going to be like this now, so we have to make another third one. So it's very nice, and how you look, you have to come back to just watch this boy, how he's growing. Also, the Asa Yusuke, and he just put for land paintings. So these are, how you see how close and people's life to the art. Like this is Kojin Haruka. It's almost several thousand in length, and she just hanging like this. Because it's very kind of, not so easy to proceed in this mission. Mr. Futake very much ecological oriented. What he said, Yuko, you cannot use any AC, air condition. You cannot use any light, electricity. How I can do this? Because and also, and artworks need a certain condition as a museum curator. Everybody knows about that. It's outside, like stone, like wood, and also metal sculpture is fine. But but also he asked me to totally something different than those kind of conventional sculpture. So this is a kind of challenge. We have to make a certain kind of very sculpture form like pavilions and put some fragile works, but to still survive in such a condition. So this and a lot of constellation discussion about this, another installation. This and you see an entrance of the Beatrix Viades, because this really combine the form of the and architecture and artworks. This and before, after. This and Hatshiba's work with the films and including the city island people, and we just showing this kind of films at the first. Second is 3 years, Chinatsu Shimodaira, she make a very beautiful hammock. We just opened the space, the same space. This is a current situation in 3 years. It's Masanori Handa, and he's making a wood sculpture, very large flowers. Yeah, I asked, because this is Komita Yusuke. You can see after work in the exhibition. Also now it's all fire soon. So this is my last picture, because I just want to talk a bit more about Symbiosis and all the ecological projects, because we have a lot of other projects in the island, not only art projects, but I may Kazuo Sejima give a lecture, also I just maybe follow up and some comments. So I'm sorry, very quickly I have to close my talk, but I just want to say, because I'm working on a museum and curator directors, also dealing with a lot of the collection. It's very nice to have a museum to showing their collection artwork very safe way. People know the literacy and how they get educated, how they learn from museum, how they appreciate art. But the art has more kind of possibility. Art has more kind of power to change the people's mind, change all the ecosystem environment. We really have to work with all the different expertise and create a new relation and trust to core being. So this is my message. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Hasegawa-san. Please do stay. We have a few minutes, I think, for some questions. We have definitely one has come through that I'd like to ask you from Zoom, from Katrin Gunnarsdottir. Thank you for your wonderful lecture, Hasegawa-san. You mention architecture quite a lot. Is the architecture of a place something that is important in your work?
Yeah. Because architecture transform the space to just place can be possible to how the people meet, because people just kind of sharing the public spaces also very important, because when you just look at the art, also meeting people together, because when you just make a visit the museum, you just listen to what your neighbors talking about art, because art need some kind of space to be shared. So that also the architect make a lot of different ideas how we can make space for the public, how can create a space to be shared. Very clever people, they make a lot of research, also program. Also, we share the process of research process, also make a program, how the future museum going to be, and something like that. This is an architect, and the definition is very much kind of changing, also expanding, also as well as a curator, as an artist as well. Yeah. Also, Orafa Eliasson, he want to be also he does a lot of kind of very interesting architecture work. Yeah, it's really overlapped.
Thank you. Thank you for your question from Zoom. If you have a question, now is your opportunity. I know that we have a question here. If you could just wait for the microphone, please, so that everyone can hear your question. Thank you.
Thank you, Hasegawa-san. I'm curious about if you approach your curation differently when you're curating for Japanese audiences and foreign audiences. Thank you.
Japanese audiences, foreign audience. Yeah, because I've been working at quite different kind of places, Istanbul, Moscow, and also Brazil. So, each kind of places, for me, it's first, my goal, target is local audiences. It's very important. How I can know about that? I just look at TV, soap opera, 24 hours almost, and MTV, and also I just sitting on the street, look at the people, something like that. It's not enough, I know, but just studying the history of the city, and it's very important. But also it's very important be with them. So this is the way to I just get into the learning and from the place. And yes, and as a curator, there are a lot of misunderstanding because and also those kind of misunderstanding is part of the and a very important process is a translation because art is a curation is and also a process of translation. So this is But the most important thing is to just make an exhibition for the local people.
Thank you for your question. My interactions with Hasegawa-san have definitely proven, and also with other curators, that I think intuitively you work extremely well with understanding about international audiences and domestic audiences in Japan. I think it's very, very pertinent. Thank you very much. Maybe we have one more question over here in the middle. If you could wait for the microphone. If you keep your hands up, please, so we can see very well. Thank you.
Hello. Hi. And thank you so much. This was a really lively conversation or a dialogue presentation. I was going to ask you, when you look at where you started doing the Istanbul biennial, it seems like a lot of the themes that you were looking at over 20 years ago are very present now. And I was wondering if you could just talk a little bit about that, especially curating in a sort of post-COVID world.
Curating the COVID?
Like in a sort of post-COVID world, like
yeah, how the kind of the curation can be changed.
Yeah.
That your question is? Yeah.
Yeah, and sort of going back to your roots of your first project.
Yeah. That is very good question. But because when I just that's the reason why I was showing Thailand Biennale and making process, curatorial process. There's a lot of the remote work because and sometimes the curators colonize culture local culture because we just bring some kind of westernization into the local culture. This is also very nice for them because they got new kind of ideas, also new kinds of stimulation from the outside curators. But in a way, I always to be very very and it's something like a very strong kind of self-criticism myself, what I'm doing. So in a way, when I just talking in Istanbul, working in Istanbul, I thought it's Istanbul people is very so-called westernized, but it's not only that, because a lot of them different characteristics, different kind of memory, and also aesthetic they have. I just try to dig in and those kind of those kind of potential resources what they have. That is one thing. But it's the same as what I'm doing in Thailand. Those kind of quite activate and those kind of secret and the resources that they have because this and the same. But it's the most important thing about how the audience people more highly informed Also, they have their own network. In a way, and if they produce something, also they make an action. They just try to, their own kind of methodology. Also, their own way to produce. Also, create something new kind of, action institution. So in a way, it's quite important how I can do it. Come something, let it be. Give a freedom to more kind of free facilitation to just helping them and a certain very basic things. So that means how we can respect their own kind of autonomy. So this is my own kind of and a big change and what happened to me. Yeah. I think that more and more it's really important. You really have to trust potential and the power, knowledge, also the people have.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm afraid that is all we do have time for. Hasegawa-san has imparted a lot of information to us already this morning, to our team who work here at Japan House, and they will be able to hopefully pass that on once the exhibition is open come Saturday. So there is a lot more that we can have learned from Hasegawa-san, even when she's gone back to Japan. So would you please join me in thanking Hasegawa Yuko? Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Sorry, and I just want to mention about one of my friends, the artist of French Alliance. He's here. He just participated in the first kind of the 7th Istanbul Biennial. Because what I just want to say, I just want to mention his work because he make an airmail dress. Because that also give me a lot of kind of ideas because now we are kind of remotely working because he just given the kind of 74 artists and one email and airmail dress because the artists send it and their kind of wife, also kind of friend, also the girlfriend, boyfriend. So also kind of and they wear the dresses and make an some kind of nice letter to message to the artist in Istanbul. They send it to Istanbul. All the kind of beautiful airmail dress and full of the love, message into the display into the Aya Irene. That was a fantastic experience for me. So that I really appreciate, and he's the one that give a very early stage and ideas and how art can work remotely. Thank you. Spain.
Thank you, and welcome to Japan House. You will receive a short email feedback form after this. Please do fill it in, as it will help us to continue. The exhibition Symbiosis opens on Saturday. Please do come along. It's free. It is a marvelous exhibition. And of course, we do have a talk with Sejima Kazuyo, who has worked with Hasegawa-san on this exhibition, and that is on Friday. Thank you very much. And once again, join me in thanking Hasegawa Yuko. Thank you.